Hi, I'm Vincent Gramoli, founder and CTO of Redbelly Network, and today I'm going to go through the dashboard that is publicly available and offered by Chainspect, where they list Redbelly as the fastest blockchain in terms of max TPS or throughput. So we can see that this website offers a ranking of different blockchains, technologies. Not all of them are blockchains, but there are 50 technologies that are listed here. Some of them are layer ones, what we call the blockchain itself, but some of them are called parachain or layer twos and so on. And what is interesting is that they offer different metrics according to which we can rank a different blockchain, right? So there is the real-time transaction per second, which is the current throughput being observed, max TPS in 100 blocks or in per block, max theoretical throughput, total transaction, block time, which is the average time between two blocks, the finality, which is the average latency of a transaction, the governance, which can be cancel, off-chain, on-chain, and the launch date, the date when the network was launched in production. So this maximum TPS is taken out of the history of transaction that happened on the main net or the production network. And what is interesting is that Redbelly, so we can rank it by this metric by clicking on this arrow. What is interesting here is that Redbelly is at the top of the list, which means it has the highest max throughput. And this throughput is close to 100,000 transactions per second. It's quite fast, especially for an EVM compatible blockchain. And the way this is computed, I believe, is by looking at only one block, right? But of course, happening one block can be done in a very short period of time, right? So I believe what is computed here is the number of transactions that we can see in a block divided by the difference between the timestamp of this block and the timestamp minus the timestamp of the previous block, right? So it gives you a result in transactions per second. There are other metrics here, like block time, that are maybe less interesting because they don't relate to performance necessarily. In Redbelly, we do not create blocks if there is no need to create a block. So if you don't send a transaction, no blocks will be created. And so the time between blocks can be very long, arbitrarily long. Typically, if you have one transaction that is submitted at time 0 and another one at time 1, we would typically have 1 minute. We would typically have 1 minute of period between the block creations, right? Now, if you do two other transactions that are committed within the same block, then the average would be roughly around half a minute, right? In terms of the number of transactions here, Chainspect selected two distinct blocks. I think in this case there are 92 blocks that were selected, and we see that there are 92 transactions. It means that each block has a single transaction. Redbelly doesn't wait to create blocks. If there is a very high demand and a lot of transactions are received at the same time, they will be all batched in the same block by the validator. But if a transaction is received and there is no other transaction received in a short amount of time, then the validator will anyway propose a block that contains this transaction rather than waiting for more transaction to come. Otherwise, this would increase the finality. And we want to have instant finality. That's why we do not wait. So in this case, we create one block each time we receive a transaction. Each block contains one transaction, and therefore, if you have 92 blocks, then you have 92 transactions. That's why it looks low, but there might be other times where a lot of transactions are received, and because we have a super block optimization, we can have a number of transactions that grows linearly with the number of validators in our network. So it can be much higher than that, as you can imagine. And that's typically what happens when we reach the max TPS. We have more than one transaction per block in general. So I hope this clarifies how these metrics are computed or how we believe these metrics are computed.